Hello everyone, my name is Chris and welcome back to another movie review. Today I'm gonna be reviewing Fight Club, and as usual I'm quickly gonna go through the story of this movie to tell you in short what this movie is all about. Then I'm gonna share my own opinions and thoughts about this movie, so in case you didn't watch it, one big spoiler alert across the screen. And yeah, just click away from this video and come back after you watch a movie if you want to, guys. If you don't want to, you don't have to, it's totally okay. But if you really are interested in my opinions and thoughts about this movie right now, then stay with me till the end of this video and let's get started. Alright guys, Fight Club is a movie that's been released in 1999, which is the year when I was born. So this movie is 23 years old. And this movie is a psychologically based movie, and it's particularly based on men's psychology. This movie was recommended to me by my very good friend, and I want to thank him for that this way. Anyway, story of this movie follows the guy who doesn't really have a name. He's just called the narrator because that's what he is. He just narrates you through the movie. And the movie starts off with narrator explaining his life that I think a lot of people can relate to. He works a very boring office job. He's very depressed and stressed out. He doesn't have any life fulfillment or greatness in his life. He doesn't feel like he has any purpose in this world. He is just a huge mess. And that's when he visits a doctor who tells him to, find a purpose in his life, and he suggests him that he should go to these gatherings where men who have, for example, testicular cancer, they gather around and just talk and be support to each other. And he listens to the doctor and he goes to these gatherings and starts to be support to these men and a shoulder to cry on, and he actually starts to feel slightly better because of that. As the movie goes on, there is this woman called Marla who shows up at these meetings as well, and he can tell that she comes there just to be there. She doesn't really have any particular disease that she's dying from or something like that, like other people who gather these meetings. And he starts to watch her and learn things about her, and he just realizes that she's being kind of rude because she comes to these meetings and just smokes cigarettes, and just doesn't really behave like a person that comes to these meetings should. And one day he just snaps and approaches her and asks her why she's there, what is she doing, what is she getting from that. And she doesn't really have an answer to that. Of course, she's just coming there because she wants to. And things kind of get a little bit rough between them, so they start to build their relationship a bit rough there. And then at one point in the movie, our narrator stops attending these meetings and he stops seeing Marla. Because of the work. He has to travel because of his work. And then one day he's on the plane and he is sitting to this handsome looking guy that is like a businessman, and he introduces himself to narrator as Tyler Durden. So that's our main character in the movie meets Tyler Durden, which is second main character. And Tyler Durden is, by the way, played by Brad Pitt, who was back in the 90s like an icon of a handsome man or whatever. They put him in this role pretty purposely, and I think it's very well done. So Tyler Durden is a guy who makes and sells soap. He seems to be pretty successful at it, and he seems to be like a guy who has things going on in his life going pretty well. So Tyler and narrator have a conversation on the plane, and when they get off the plane, each of them goes their separate ways, and narrator comes back home from the travel and finds out that his apartment was blown up by gas leak or something, and his place has been destroyed completely. Everything is just completely fucked. And now he is pretty much homeless. He doesn't know what to do. And at first he doesn't really seem to be too stressed about it, but he realizes that he's in a deep shit. And Tyler gave him his number while they were on the plane. So narrator goes to the phone booth and just calls Tyler and asks him if they can meet up. They meet up, and Tyler just tells him that he knows why he called them. It's because he needs a place to stay. And narrator and Tyler start to build their relationship through the entire movie from there. And that's where Tyler kind of adopts narrator to his home. And when they exit from the cafe where they were having this conversation, Tyler asks narrator to hit him. And narrator at first thinks it's a pretty crazy idea to do that, but they pick a fight and they beat up each other pretty badly, and they realize it feels pretty good. You know, their both of their lives are just so miserable and messed up that fighting felt so relieving and so fulfilling for them. And after that, they go to Tyler's place, which is some very old house that is almost abandoned. Actually, it is abandoned. It's completely falling apart. It's a shithole, but Tyler lives there. You know, at first he seemed like a very successful, rich businessman, but no, he's just as fucked as narrator is. For the rest of the movie, they keep fighting each other, and slowly people start to see that in front of that bar every night, and people start to gather around, and these fights start to get bigger and bigger. People start to involve, and they end up creating a fight club where all men can come and fight. It's completely free. You just come and you can fight with other guys, and they do that because their lives are so messed up and they're all so miserable and depressive, and that just gives them an emotional fulfillment. And for the rest of the movie, you can see that Fight Club evolving into a huge group, like almost a terrorist organization. It's not almost, it becomes a terrorist organization that is being led by Tyler and narrator. And by the end of the movie, group gets so big, they start to do so much shit and illegal things. They literally become criminals, and you actually realize that through the whole movie, Tyler Durden is the narrator's alter ego. So that was so mind-blowing. I'm not gonna spoil the end of the movie completely, go see it for yourself, but that's pretty much what the movie is all about. It's about psychology. This movie hits on a man's psychology on a completely another level, and holy shit, guys, this was probably one of the best men's psychology based movies I have ever watched in my life. Joker and Taxi Driver were really good, but man, Fight Club felt like something very real that a lot of men in today's modern society can relate to. Like, there is plenty of men out there in modern society who feel so lonely and who feel so unfulfilled and miserable, and they just start to do shit like drugs and fighting and all that criminal stuff. And you know, there is so many quotes, so many things about this movie that you can relate to in real life, like connect with in real life, and there is just so much to talk about that I could make like at least 3-hour video just about this movie and talking about it. There is so much shit going on in this movie, guys. It's just one of those good stuff movies. When I watched it, I just sat on my couch and I was like, holy shit, man, what did I just watch? I was stunned by this movie, and I was amazed by how well it was done. You don't realize that Tyler Durden, actually the narrator, a narrator's alter ego is Tyler Durden until the end of the movie. And that's when things get super interesting. He realizes that he blew his own apartment up. He realizes that he was so miserable in his life, you know, and depressive and all that, and he has so many psychological disorders. He just created this fight club to have a purpose in life, and he that way gained followers and people who started following his example, and he just literally became icon to depressed and lonely and lost men all around the country. They just started to spread through other cities, and it's crazy how one man just became a king. He built an empire, an army of men who actually at the end started doing so many bad things, but in the same time they make so much sense. Like they started destroying someone's property or robbing stuff. One of the guys even gets killed. He gets shot in the head. Narrator gets very stressed about it because he knew that guy from the testicle cancer meetings and all that, and he feels very sorry for him. You know, through the entire movie, you can see the narrator is actually the good side of a man, while Tyler Durden is the bad side of the man. While, in the same time, Tyler Durden is what narrator needed in his life to make him a man that he is. He didn't want it to become that, but he needed that. No matter how bad Tyler Durden is, and he did so many bad things, he did awful things, he's an awful human being, but that's exactly what made him a good man in the same time. And this is one of those speeches. If you ever watch Jordan Peterson on the internet, it's a guy that I really love to watch a lot. I love psychology and all that kind of stuff. And he says that a good man is a man who is dangerous but chooses to control that, puts that monster inside of him under voluntary control. And that's literally what you can see Tyler Durden being in this movie to narrator and all other guys. He is who he is entire time, but you don't realize that till the end of the movie. And I think that just reflects the subconscious of a man. You know, we men are so ready to do so many awful things just to find ourselves. Like, there is a scene where Tyler takes the empty gun and just walks into a store and pulls the shopkeeper out and tells him that he's going to kill him, and shopkeeper keeps crying and begging for his life. And then Tyler asks him, what do you want to be in life? And he says that he wants to be a veterinarian. And he said, okay, I'm gonna let you live. You're gonna have some time to start studying veterinary, and if you don't make it, I'm gonna come back and I'm gonna kill you. And he lets him go. The gun was empty, but the whole point of him doing such an awful thing was to push a man beyond his limits to become something more in his life. And we can see all these internet coaches doing that all the time around the internet. And that's even what Jordan Peterson keeps telling to his students in his speeches and all that. So you can relate with that movie so much, especially in this time, in 2022, 2023, when there is a lot of talks about masculinity and all that. This movie really brings up that masculinity. It's a real Sigma male movie. I think every man should watch this movie. I'm not telling you to go do these things that these guys did in this movie because they're obviously wrong and awful. You're gonna probably end up in the prison. I heard even there is a book, a Fight Club book, and the ending is different in the book. I think the ending from the book makes much more sense than the one in the movie. But in general, this movie is such a great man psychology. Holy shit, there is so many things you can think of and talk about in this movie. It's just something else. This movie isn't really a movie. It's a psychological experience. It's motivating, sad, depressive. It's every feeling that cooks up in a man at once. And there is also a woman in this movie, Marla. She is a symbol of what woman should be to a man, in my opinion. She also has a very bad life. She's a drug addict. She is very lost. She does so many bad things and wrong things. But despite all that, she's still a woman that is trying to be better and is progressively trying to get better, you know. But the main part why I think she is in the movie is to show that she is trying to represent what women should be in modern society. And what women should do in modern society is take care of a man's soul. That's what I think women should do in modern society. And that's what this movie portrays very perfectly. The narrator became a better person because of her. They had the sex and all that, you know. He didn't really like it at the first because, you know, movie makes you think that because you still don't know at that part that he's the one who fucked her all the time and everything. He thinks Tyler fucked her, but it's actually his alter ego. And in the end, you realize it's all been him. So they've been fucking and all that. And he realizes that he is getting his soul cured by her and at the one dosage. And I think this movie represented what a woman should do for a man perfectly. So she's very important in this movie as well. Marla is a very influential and powerful character in this movie for a man. And yeah, it's just a lot of good man psychology in this movie. It's very disturbing, kinda. You don't really feel comfortable watching this movie because when I seen these things, the guys who did these things in the movie, I can't say that I didn't thought of doing the same things. And luckily I didn't, because I would be in the prison right now or something. But I think after you watch this movie, you're gonna sit and be like, fuck me, I thought of actually doing this. And this movie then later shows you why you shouldn't do it, even though you wanted to. And there is so many points of view that you can see this movie from, and no matter which point of view you see this movie from, you're not gonna be wrong, because that's how this movie is designed. And I think there is even a lot of metaphor in this movie and art, and there is just a lot of going on. It's just a big brain time movie. It's one of those wow movies that you're gonna remember for watching, and it's gonna stay with you after you watch it. It's not just gonna go away, fade away from your head and be like, okay, I forgot what I watched. No, you're gonna remember this shit. It's really hardcore on a man's psychology, and I totally recommend this movie to all men to watch it. This shows literally the good and the bad sides of a man. This is literally that story about black and white wolf in every man. This movie perfectly represents that story, how one man can be psychologically healthy and good, while in the same time he can also choose to be psychologically evil and bad, and how you have to put those bad and evil things under control. Otherwise, if you release them, they can create chaos, which sometimes is not even a wrong thing. Sometimes you have to be a monster. Sometimes when people crush you and when people treat you bad, you gotta show them teeth. And this movie shows that perfectly. It was such a great movie. I could talk about it for hours, like I said, but I think this video is already long enough, so I'm gonna end it right here. Fight Club is definitely one of the best man-based psychological movies I have ever seen. Go watch it, guys. It's a real Sigma male movie. It's gonna like make you understand man psychology much more and let you know what you should and shouldn't do and what you need to be aware of as a man. I think this movie is a very good guidance for both being good and evil. It shows both of these sides in men. So yeah, that's it, guys. If you enjoyed this movie review, then go ahead and leave a like, share, comment, or subscribe if you want to. If you don't want to, you don't have to. It's totally okay. You can also join my Chris Facebook group. Link is down below in the description. I post all kind of stuff over there. And yeah, guys, thank you for watching. I appreciate all of your support and everything you've done for me and my channel so far. You're amazing. I love you, and I'll definitely see you in the next videos. Chris out.